Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome to the Redmen TV. I am Paul Machin outside the Stadium de Toulouse in Toulouse, which makes perfect sense when you really think about it, ahead of tonight's Europa League game. It is a 5:45 kickoff in England, therefore a 7:15 kickoff local time, which is weird, but you know, it is what it is. We can all crack on with our nights afterwards, I guess. Quietly, quite a big game for Liverpool, which is mad to say because obviously, you know, we've travelled across Europe and seen Liverpool playing huge games of football, huge over the years. But Toulouse, what this does represent is a chance to get out of the group and get it boxed as early as possible. We saw this in the Champions League, what Jurgen Klopp likes to do. Get those points in the bag, and then you've got freedom of choice for your final two group games. So a win here tonight would secure that, with 2 games to spare, leaving them free to rotate. And rotation's obviously been a big topic of conversation this week, particularly after the, should we say, underwhelming performance against Luton. Let's say that and leave it there. Lots of question marks around how the squad's being used, and I'm seeing some of those fears starting to rear their ugly heads already about players being overworked. Dominic Szoboszlai being one. A couple of people actually just randomly stopped me in the street in London, of all places, on Tuesday to talk about Szoboszlai should have been, you know, nowhere near. It was his first bad performance. He looked knackered and all those kind of things. So Jurgen Klopp's got that sort of balance, because Brentford at the weekend represents its own issues. Obviously, Alexis McAllister is banned for that game, so that means that there's going to have to be a natural shuffle. Injury news as far as this so far goes: no Curtis Jones, no Ryan Gravenberch. Now, Klopp talked about it being just like a little knock. I've heard rumours through the grapevine that it's a bit worse than that, but there's no confirmation on that, so there's no point worrying too much about that for today. But it does mean there's 2 players who would legitimately have probably been in the hunt for a starting place. Certainly at least one of them would have started this game, and now both of them won't, which means we're going to have to shuffle the pack, and we're going to have to be careful not to burn anyone out in the process. So that's obviously a headache. Now, on the positive side, you've got the return of Ben Doak, and it was spoken about in our last Europa game that Ben Doak would have been more involved if he'd not been injured. We know he got his game over in Linz against Lask in the first away group game, so it wouldn't be outside the realms of possibility to see him involved again today, and I'd be quite fine with that. We'll talk about the 11. If you've got thoughts on it, let me know in the comments underneath, of course. My sort of issues with this is that we're in quite a precarious stage of the group and the season. Now, logically, it follows what I said earlier is correct, that get this one, and then Europa's done, and you can play whatever team you want to in the final couple of games. It really doesn't matter. But with the Brentford game coming up at the weekend, on the back of the Luton one, and with Man City looming after the international break, look, if Liverpool beat Brentford and Man City, even if Man City win their game this weekend, if we then beat Man City, we're neck and neck with them, and all of the disappointments of Tottenham and Luton and even Chelsea first game of the season kind of don't matter. You're right in the mix, but you know, there's a chance that if you don't beat Brentford, and look, it's a home, so we should, but you know, Brentford have given us trouble in recent years. If you don't beat Brentford, let's say you lose to Brentford, or even just draw, you're dropping points. Man City were at the weekend, and then of course there's no guarantees with the City games. You could go flat out with your best 11 and still lose that. And all of a sudden there's a pretty substantial gap, and it's not that I think Liverpool should be expected to win the league, or even expected to be like the best challengers to the league this season. That's Arsenal should be filling that role, but there's just something about the psychological damage of saying you can't win the title and it's only November, and that's something I think they'll be keen to avoid, because you want to feel like you're fighting in all competitions like it's possible, and it wouldn't make it impossible. I think the first half of the season gets forgotten sometimes because we've had so many of those got to win every game, got to kick every ball, got to score every goal, otherwise Man City will hunt you down and kill you kind of seasons, that really the first half of the campaign is base building. It's like it's putting a foundation in place. You know, you go at above 2 points a game. I think Liverpool have been running at like about 2.2 at times so far this season, which is excellent. You run at that, and then once you get through January, if you put your foot to the floor, can you raise that up and really run for the line? City are great at doing that, Liverpool have been great at doing that, but yeah, we just need to make sure that we're in contention, and this is where it's an interesting balance, because did we get it wrong last week with the balance between Bournemouth and Luton? I honestly don't know. The weather conditions obviously were hard for both teams, but it was energy sapping. Liverpool then had to get the coach back instead of flying, which again, for most of us, it's not like they got the megabus. It was in an ideal preparation for those 2 away games in that week. It's excuses, it is, I know. I'm well aware that it sounds like excuses, but the point is that I think the point's right, is that we have to balance this squad well, and when you've got a couple of injuries to contend with, how best to do that. So let's do it. So the other one who's out is Virgil van Dijk, who's ill, who hasn't travelled with the squad. Luis Diaz has travelled. We know Ben Doak's in contention. I think he'll probably go quite strong. I suspect it will be Tsimikas, Gomez, Matip, Trent, although no, well, let's swing around. I'm doing this on the fly. Have you guessed? Wataru Endo in the middle. I would be tempted. I think Harvey Elliott will start right midfield. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. I would protect Szoboszlai, and I would give Alexis McAllister his game in the left side at 8 tonight. I just want to see it. He's had a little bit of stick. He's really dug in for the team. You know, he's a new lad. I forget that sometimes, and the problem is that new shine, the new lustre wears off really quickly, and I don't want people to lose their heads with Alexis McAllister. I think he's a fabulous footballer, and I think he's been doing a really good job at the 6, to be honest. I just think there's this, he's not perfect for it, and at some point we're going to buy a footballer who's going to be perfect for it, and that'll be sound. It's a bit like how Henderson did it. Henderson was a good 6. Then Fabinho came in and was a perfect 6 for what we were doing, but then Henderson would go back into the 6 and have absolutely wonderful games for us. So yeah, you know, I think I see that a little bit with Alexis McAllister, but I want to see him, a la Jordan Henderson, actually go, no, okay, boss, you know, this is my opportunity, let me go and play in the position that I can play, and let me show the world what I can do. So yeah, I'd be reasonably happy with that. Then in attack, how ready is Diaz? Is he up for the fight? Then if that's the case, yeah, you know what, unleash him, let him go on the left hand side. You know, he'll obviously be chomping at the bit to kind of just, you know, for this, probably the distraction as much as anything else. Cody Gakpo through the middle, and then see, I would go Ben Doak, and I think he'll go Ben Doak, but it also wouldn't shock me if he just went Salah again, because it's the forever question of, do you go all in, guns blazing for 60 minutes and then make all your substitutes and go easy, or do you make the game harder work for yourself and then be forced to chase it for 30 minutes? And like, you know, again, Liverpool don't need to chase this. A draw would be absolutely sound in this one if it has to be, but ultimately, you know, something about just getting a win and getting it all boxed and feeling that psychological lift going into Sunday is needed. Look, Liverpool can do that with Doak, but there's just something to Salah. Now, Salah coming off the bench, if it's not quite done, could be a real fear factor as well, so I'm a little bit torn on that, but I'll go Doak for the sake of argument. And the only question is maybe Konate at the back, and you put Gomez at right back potentially. But no, I'm reasonably happy with that team. Okay, Kelleher in goal, obviously, as well. What do you think? What team would you go for tonight? Are you a little bit worried about freshness and rotation? Are there any wild cards you pull out of the bag to try and upset Toulouse today? Let me know, comment section underneath. Yeah, I'll be doing a vlog from here. I'm also doing a travel vlog as well. If you didn't check out the last one, it was a fun experience. That's over on Mates TV, my personal YouTube channel, so that should be good fun. And if you want a little bit to occupy in the meantime, I went over to Union Saint-Gilloise with those other Europa League opponents. We're going there in December for the final group game. The fans are amazed at Anfield. They invited me to check out a game in their stadium. We won't be playing them in that stadium, so it was a really unique opportunity. Again, that's there. It's not Liverpool, but Simon Mignolet was in goal for Club Brugge, so it's got a Liverpool connection, and of course Alexis McAllister's brother, let's be honest, hilariously named Kevin McAllister, was there, and I got to chat to him as well, so go and check that out on Mates TV. And yeah, make sure you fill your boots with amazing coverage. If you want more on redmenplus.com building up to this game, then grab that if you use the code JOURNO. JOURNO. It's one of the codes. It'll give you 50% off for 2 months. Anyway, that's it from me. The stadium is boss, by the way. I tell you what, before I go a little look around, there's the ground. It's got some mad floodlights up the top, and actually it's still got the France 98 sign round the side here. Let me just quickly show you this. So we walk around here. So it was one of the stadiums that was used that England actually played Romania in France 98 as well. There you go. you want more random tidbits like that, then yeah, do check out Mates TV. Other than that, I will be back post-match. The lads will be in the studio, check them out there, and other than that, up the Reds. Au revoir.